New trend on TikTok sees young women sharing their Islam conversion stories as a result of the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Per the Daily Mail, recent converts say the conflict, which began with the murder of 1,200 Israelis on October 7th, is becoming a driving factor for their decision to join the Muslim faith. Experts suggested for many the choice is the ultimate rebellion against the West.
One critic of the decision by these girls to convert is Ayaan Hirsi Ali. Ali joined Dana Perino on Fox News to argue that the girls are completely confused about their identities and that they're throwing away their freedoms. Ali recently had a come-to-Jesus moment herself, converting to Christianity for both spiritual and civilizational reasons, she says in an essay published on Unheard. She writes, I still have a great deal to learn about Christianity. I discovered a little more at church each Sunday, but I have recognized in my own long journey through a wilderness of fear and self-doubt that there is a better way to manage the challenges of existence than either Islam or unbelief had to offer. So she was Islamic and then an atheist and now Christian. Jessica, you are much more active on TikTok than I am. Are you aware of this conversion trend from Gen Z women on TikTok?
I am. I've seen some videos about, the interpretation of the Quran and how what is happening currently with Israel's, attack on Palestine being something that was predicted by the Quran. I've seen a lot of TikToks about this, about people explaining, that this is what the Quran says and that justice will come and actually Palestinians will be okay and will be able to live in the Holy Land again. Then you have also very many people talking about, this being the end times. Very interesting religious conversations happening among young people on TikTok. But I think for me, there are a lot of young people that are not encouraged to explore different religions. Religion has traditionally been something you inherit from your parents. And so I think many people have different ways of connecting spiritually. And exploring, if you want to join an organized religion is something that all young people have a right to do. Of course, there's this questioning of, is it just anti-Americanism? No, I don't think so. I think people, becoming more aware of the Quran and becoming more aware of Islam is, just a side consequence, just a very neutral thing that has happened. And if people want to convert to Islam, they should. They have the freedom to choose their religion in this country. I don't think we should assign everyone all of the sins or the crimes of what people have done in the name of religion. For example, the Crusades. I think that there are very many people who have done very bad things in the name of God or spreading religion, but I don't think we need to assign the religion with all of its interpretations when someone practices it and make them accountable for it.
Yeah, I mean, well, true, but I would extend that not just for Islam, but for Judaism and Christianity and Hinduism and all the others. Look, yeah, I don't care. People can convert if they want to. I mean, I find it a little confused in the same way that the whole Queers for Palestine discourse was a little confused in that Islam is not exactly or some strains of Islam are not exactly tolerant of other lifestyles, sexualities, things of that nature. There's a weird, religion in general, and this is not unique to Islam, obviously. This is true of Christianity and other religions, but they're not necessarily socially progressive. So I think that was at least part of the kind of laugh at these people's expense that maybe the Fox News crowd was having, that they're converting to some fundamentalist tradition without understanding that it won't be totally endorsing of their lifestyles.
Which is kind of a rich criticism coming from Fox News in the West, right? I mean, Christianity has also been widely interpreted as anti-LGBTQ. We have a lot of anti-transgender, genderqueer sentiments in the United States. We have a lot of people, the state of Florida, for example, they don't want children to be able to read about gay kids in schools. I mean, this sentiment is not something that is unique to the Middle East. It's widespread in the United States of America. As someone who grew up LGBTQ in this country, I can tell you, most of my life, I was not out, even though I knew I was gay, because of how people around me talked about LGBTQ folks. A lot of the most hateful ones were Christians. And so this is not something that I think is unique to Islam. It's not something that I think is unique to any religion. I think it's, unique to people who are scared of people who are different from them, and who appreciate the more, traditional Christian way of life, the kind of Puritan way of life that this country was founded on, which was very anti-queer, anti-LGBTQ. So I think that there are many people who practice Islam who are queer, who keep their faith, and maybe disagree with the interpretation of the faith. And I think that's fine. I don't think it's like a rebellion against the West to become Islamic, but I'm not surprised that the Daily Mail would write something like that.
Right. I mean, there's persecution, and then there's the explicit criminal penalties, including death, right, for people who are LGBTQ in some places in the non-Western world that is very serious, that I think should be, recalled even as we question or scrutinize Western practices falling short of some ideal for sure. It's not as bad. I mean, this comes in every time, there's some boycott of some U.S. state for having like a religious freedom thing where you can't compel a baker to serve you a cake of your choosing or something because they have religious protection rights, something I support. And then there will be boycotts of places like Disney, for example, and yet there's no, they're still running cruises and trips to Caribbean island nations where gay marriages are protected, still having financial involvement with Asian and Middle Eastern countries where gay people can actually be killed and have been killed. So it just seems hypocritical at times to when there's like too much criticism of the West on this front. I support tolerance. I support gay marriage. I'm a social liberal on these matters, but I also support small businesses' rights not to engage, not to be compelled or forced to engage in business or artistic expression in a way that violates their held beliefs. And it seems like people get really liberals get really upset about that while overlooking some much more heinous abuses elsewhere.
Well, I mean, sodomy was illegal in the United States until, into the 60s when my parents were alive. Sodomy was illegal in the United States. There have been plenty of laws that were made in the West that are very anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ laws, especially in majority Catholic states in Latin America. In Spain, for example, there are a lot of anti-LGBTQ sentiments that lasted well into my parents' lifetime in Western countries that were translated into actual laws with punishments, including prison time, lengthy prison time. And so I do think that when you have a group come to power who is a part of a particular religion, sure, they can say my religion is why I am against this happening, why I'm against people, being queer, whether it's gender queer or their sexuality. But I really think that we can't assign that as the ideology of the entire religion. There are many Christian and Catholic leaders that use their faith as the reason they would like to push anti-LGBTQ plus policies. Does that mean I think everyone who's a Christian hates the LGBTQ community and they can't possibly be a practicing Christian, or it's hypocritical or even comedic? I really don't. I don't assign the actions of the Israeli state to the Jewish people, just like I don't assign the actions of Hamas to everyone who is Islamic. And so I really think it's important to separate those two things. But I think people coming to Islam and learning from the religious teachings of Islam is good, because we really don't have that in schools in the United States. And so, again, TikTok is becoming this platform where kids are getting a glimpse of the world that they can't get here in America. And maybe we should teach a little bit more about Islam and the history of it in the same way in world history we teach about the Crusades and the spread of Christianity.
All right, that does it for us for today. Thank you so much, Jessica, for filling in. Brianna will be back tomorrow. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any of our content. And for those who like to listen while on the go, we're available anywhere you can find podcasts. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you back here tomorrow.
Bye now.